not chairing the meeting. I'm not trying to give my opinion. My job is to try to get us to get our opinions out there, avoid repetition, and get us out the door in a timely fashion, and make sure that everyone has a chance to speak and do it fairly. So I'm going to try to focus on that, and to help me with that, I'm going to ask you to do some things. First, the rules of engagement. Anybody can speak. Everyone's voice, everyone's opinion we want to hear. But that doesn't mandate that you have to speak. If you'd like to say something, that's fine. There's a 5-minute time limit, but that doesn't mean you have to take up all 5 minutes. Anyone who's ever read any business books, any management books, you've all heard of the elevator speech. If you really want to get something across to someone, you have to condense it down. Now, we're all in EMS, we're emergency physicians, we're pre-hospital providers. We're really good at condensing that radio report or giving that short presentation. I'd like us to focus on that, get your points out, and then move on. You have up to 5 minutes, at which point then Adam is going to time you out. You have to move on to the next person. There's a term I'd like to throw out to you, and that's nothing to add. Okay? If someone's already said your opinion, you don't need to state it. Your strongest voice is going to be with your vote. That's going to be your strongest voice. So if you have nothing to add, just say, I have nothing to add, and move right on. This is a flat playing field, no matter who you are. Everyone, please talk, mention what you want to say. We're going to go in a very orderly fashion. We're going to go in a counterclockwise fashion when we go. If someone says something you've already said, and if you have nothing further to say, nothing to add. We'll then go to Saratoga, who we're going to do the same thing, and then Greene County, if someone should show up there. I need a little bit of a summary. I know that we all know why we're here. We've all read through everything that's been emailed to you. We're not going to go through all of that again. Does Craig want to make a little 2-3 minute summary?
Sure, absolutely. So,
can we, just a point, can everyone just say their name first for Terry, just to make it easier?
Thank you.
Sorry.
spell your last name.
Craig, let me start with you, Mr. Reverend.
Okay, sure. Craig Stanger, Medical Director for Catskill, Greene County, mostly Greene County.
George June, Town of Catskill Ambulance.
Michael Daly, General MAC Chair and Regional EMS Medical Director.
Stephen Hassett, Medical Director for Coxsackie Rescue.
Don Duane, I'm Medical Director for Gilman EMS, Albany County Sheriff's Department.
Jason Cohen, Medical Director for Delmar Bethlehem EMS and Lieutenant here.
Adam Frisch, Medical Director for Mohawk Ambulance, Heidelberg Ambulance, Westerlo Ambulance.
Bruce Leschkow, Facilitator, and other stuff.
Steve Mercado, BRUCATO, Chief of Greene EMS.
Howard Hughes, HUTH, Academic Committee Member.
Mary Ramo, REMO, State Health Department.
Rich Brandt, BRANDT, Public.
Carol Brandt, same spelling, Academic Committee Member.
Jeff Williams, back member, non-physician.
Good evening. Aiden O'Connor, President of Greene County EMS.
Before we speak, please also just restate your name as we go around. Correct.
Greene County.
Oh, thank you very much. Greene County, are you there?
Nobody in Greene County.
Still nobody there. Saratoga?
Saratoga County, can you just state who's there, spell your name? Oh, you can't hear him, hold on. I'm not good at this. Stand by. All right, go ahead.
Montu Thaler. Al Jagoda.
Todd Duzeller and Al Jagoda.
Also
Common spell.
Just the two of you guys?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. If I do forget to go to them, please stop and remind me. Thanks. All right.
Okay, thank you. I really want to thank everybody. Also, I know that I want to reiterate what Bruce said, but really thank you all for coming tonight. It was asking you guys to meet on a summer evening and give up a few hours of time. So really appreciate it. Catskill made a presentation at the June meeting. of their plans to go from an AEMT level to a paramedic level. They are, as you guys know, the largest town in Greene County. They have been looking to move to the paramedic level for probably near a decade, and have been served at the paramedic level by Greene County EMS Fly Car Service. They're probably about the only town right now in Greene County that could potentially have the resources to put together a paramedic program on their own. George June has shown that they have the staffing for that, that they have the equipment, and that they have the backing, most importantly, of their town board and the citizens of Catskill. So what we are, I think what the dicey situation is, which is why we wanted to dedicate some time to this, is Catskill is also a big part of the funding for the Greene County paramedic program. And all we can do is speculate. We don't really know what's going to happen if Catskill pulls out of that program and becomes their own entity. And I don't know if it's our role as medical directors to really say that they can or can't do that. We really want to stick to the true form of what we've done as a regional medical advisory committee and say if an agency has the resources, provides the equipment, provides the appropriate level of service, and they can meet the standards that we've set across the region, then traditionally we have given a yes approval to that. And I know from my standpoint, I don't want to move forward as a regional medical advisory committee and have to hash out every time a paramedic level service wants to come into being what its impact is going to be on the rest of the area, whether it's going to cause this one to shut down or this one to close up shop. Or I think that's going to make our jobs very complicated as medical directors, and we really want to keep to what we're here for, which is to make sure that our paramedics are providing good level care, and that a resource can give what it's supposed to give. So I think that's all I wanted to say about that. So,
thank you very much. And Tim, I'm just going to list off the things that have been submitted. Let me know if we are in agreement that everything's been submitted that we require for someone to do an upgrade. They had a vote for the town board, which was unanimous in the positive light. They submitted their DOH ambulance certificate, which is up to date. They have their certificate of liability insurance. They've got their workers' comp certificate. They submitted their personal roster. They submitted their proposed duty matrix and identified need to hire 8 staff. Submitted their call volume and response time document. They made a good intention effort of notifying all the neighboring EMS agencies, some of which responded, some of which we just had letters of receipt returned. And they submitted their discussion of a document showing their lax cabinet system. Well, I'm not sure if that was necessarily required. So is the application up to date and complete?
Application should be complete. You should have a copy in that folder right there.
All right. So we all accept that it's complete? I'm not going to go through it unless anyone disagrees. Okay, so we can accept the application is complete. Thank you. All right. There originally was some emails that went around saying that if people had questions, please put them out there. I personally have received none for open discussion. So as such, if anyone does have a question, you're going to have to use that during your time as we go around. All right, time for around the table. George, fire away. Anything you want to say? Clock starts.
I don't want to necessarily reiterate what Craig has said, but the town has been pursuing this for some time and actually was ready to make this move as early as 2013 in their minds. That was put into my lap at that point in time, and I advised the town that I didn't think they were ready to make that move at that time. And so we've used the intervening 2 years to make some improvements within the organization to bring us to a level where now I feel confident, as well as the town board is confident, that we're in a position to make that move successful.
Okay. Thank you very much. Michael?
I think the first thing that I need to do for the group and to the town of Catskill is to apologize that we didn't just settle this matter. I'm glad that Dr. Stenger asked if we could bring this up for an emergency meeting over the summer, and really appreciate everybody coming together so that we can adjudicate this and just be done, at least as a place to start for you guys. I asked Bruce if he would chair this meeting or facilitate, which is really what you're doing, because I felt that in my dual role of Regional EMS Medical Director and Chair of the MAC, I couldn't speak to both at the same time and fairly moderate the discussion today. And I wanted to make sure that this was a fair and appropriate discussion. I frankly have no horse in this race. I have no relationship with either Green EMS or Catskill Ambulance. But the one thing that we have been striving for across the region over the course of the last many years has really been to assure that we are building systems of care to assure that we have optimal medical care for all of our patients. The closest good example of a similar system, actually doing a very similar number of calls, would be Delmar Bethlehem EMS, that works in a very close relationship with the Albany County Sheriff's Department, and frankly is similar to the extent that frankly the dollars from the town of Bethlehem carry the Albany County Sheriff's Department paramedic program. However, the return for the town of Bethlehem from that investment in the sheriff's program is profoundly important in terms of day-to-day operations in the town. I have read Article 30 forwards and backwards and forwards, and tried to see whether or not there's really an answer here, and I don't think there is. The Medical Advisory Committee certainly has approved ALS in the past, and I believe that we have a responsibility for medical care across our region. The Regional Council has the ability to grant operating authority specifically, and as I looked at the other 18 or the other 17 regions, I looked at many of their standard operating procedures to get a better idea of how to do this. They were varied in terms of how they responded to requests for ALS care. And indeed, because this is municipal request, that makes it even more complicated, because now you have municipal law and health department law, and public health law and municipal law in no way, shape, or form work together. All right, it's very complicated. The thing that I don't understand with this application in particular is why move away from an economy of scale? There was a program that was on its way to being put together that I saw that Catskill was actually very involved with in terms of setting up a program that would go across all of Greene County. And frankly, it looked like it would be a model for other counties to follow in terms of getting small parochial agencies to work together to assure that the patient care came first, and indeed there was the ability to care for patients both on the mountaintop as well as in the town of Catskill or the village of Coxsackie. I think that's profoundly important. I'm not a resident of Greene County, as I said, and the fiscal decisions of the Greene County legislature and the fiscal decisions of the town of Catskill are not things that I have any concerns over, except to make sure that the patients across all of the county can get adequate care. We have seen the decisions that this body has made have caused disruption in ALS care in the past. In particular, the foray that Neil's made into first response ALS without adequate financial backing and the ability to assure that that would work still causes ripples of problems across response for ALS care in Rensselaer County. And I think that's something that we need to recognize as we move forward and make the decision today. Ultimately, I think we need to wonder, will Greene EMS be sustainable? And if not, what's the backup plan? Because I do know the Albany County Sheriff's Department doesn't want to be sending units into Greene County every day if Greene EMS fails. I think it's important to recognize whether or not there's indeed going to be continuing ALS coverage into the areas of the county if Greene fails, and indeed from Greene whether or not they will survive this. I think it's important to recognize whether or not Greene is providing adequate care to Catskill. And then ultimately, I appreciate that at the end of the day, we may ask all these questions and say, the questions are there. But the town of Catskill may very well have the ability to make this decision independently and move forward. And I have no doubt that they will provide good care to their patients within their town.
Thank you, Mike. We'll have another opportunity to speak later on during the public.
My apologies.
Steve, nice to see you, by the way. I haven't seen you in ages.
Great. So, both sides of the coin. I am a resident of Greene County, and the system that is in place, I would like to see survive for my family's sake, for my in-laws' sake, who also live in the area. Flip side of the coin, as medical director, chief of the division of Albany Meds, urgent cares, with a facility in Greene County, we rely heavily now on Greene County EMS. There's probably 5 or 6 transports a week that come out of the office there. And I'd like to know who's going to cover those should this fall apart. Because I don't have the staff to be sending somebody to the hospital with BLS if they need ALS service. And again, coming from an EMS background, yeah, if you've got everything in place that you want to move up to paramedic, I've been there and done that too 20 years ago. It's a tough
It
stuff.
hasn't changed at all.
And no, it hasn't. It's the same stuff every day. So that's all I have to add. I just want to get the rest of the discussion.
Thank you. Ian?
Nothing to add. Hi. Don Dornell. So I guess the part that I'm a little confused about, perhaps, and haven't quite been answered, exactly why does the town of Catskill want to move up? What is the motivation behind this? Is the service not being provided by Greene County? I just don't understand why you guys want to do this specifically, other than we want to be a paramedic agency. I don't know if you can answer that, if this is the appropriate time to ask that question.
2 reasons. Number one, I'll me back a step for 1 second. This is not about quality of care. The town of Catskill has been unequivocal about we have no issues with the quality of care that's provided by Greene EMS. The issues are 2. The town board has been on record that, number one, they prefer that the town board, and because of the investment they've made in resources to provide EMS service, that they have the, I guess you could say, control or the decision of whether or not they provide that service to the community. They want to be responsible for that. Secondly, would be a financial one. The town board feels, and our studies have shown, that we feel that we can provide the service at a lower cost than Greene EMS currently does to the town of Catskill.
That was the end of my question.
Jason Cohen. I guess I'm not really clear if we, as MAC, have, I don't know the answer to the question, if we have it's within our scope to review programs for appropriateness of development of the program, or if it's just if the application is intact or not. And I don't know, I know Dr. Daly, legal counsel, they get their opinion, but even after reading that, I'm still not really clear on what our scope is. So I don't know if anybody else is more clear on that. If it's just to say that the application is intact, the application is intact. If it's not, if we're supposed to review and see how it's supposed to impact care within the county and have a little bigger view over the provision of ALS care within a region, then that's a different question. So
If I can, please feel free to just run the comes out this time now. I might be able to help in that I can only recite what I recall from Terry Hannigan's comment. Feel free if anyone disagrees and just going back to what I remember in an email. Historically, we've simply said, are the boxes checked, the application's complete. That's what we've done historically. For Terry, that doesn't mean that's what we have to do. We're allowed to discuss and think about anything and have that play into our decision-making process. So history does not have to drive us going forward. Is that a fair summary? Okay.
does it fall within the purview of the MAC then to see if this is something that we want to, as a MAC, start engaging in this kind of a discussion on a regular basis, not as just once in a while?
That's going to call for a different question. We really do now. We sort of answer the business at hand. fair assessment?
I don't know if I necessarily agree with that.
Speak up.
Howard Hughes, I've been sitting on the academic committee and as a guest for MAC for 15, almost 20 years. And most of the MAC decisions were made regarding specific medical care from a region back when the region was in a position where the REMSCO was stronger and truly operated as the REMSCO should, as the business end of the business of the region. And the MAC was specifically for medical advisory, and the REMSCO was more of a procedural business end of it. Rich, help me out here if you can put it in better words.
Article 30 has not changed, I don't believe, since '93,
Right.
the last revision, so you're dealing with the same statute.
Just past practice seems to be that we've got a good number of years of the MAC really handling medical control, medical authority issues.
No, that's very true. That is, and I think someone spoke to already, what you've traditionally done with this sort of application.
Right.
But does history mean that that's the way that we need to do it going forward? I mean, I think that article, that paragraph 30, whatever, is relatively vague in its description of what we're supposed to be doing. And I'm relatively new to the area and new to the region. I just don't know if it's something that we as a MAC want to change the way we talk about things. But what I'm saying, Bruce, is a topic for a different conversation. But I think, unfortunately, it kind of informs this discussion.
I can agree with that. I think if we open that conversation, that's going to be a interesting conversation to have. It'll affect a lot of different financial situations.
If I can just chime in here for a second. It's probably one of the longer standing members of the MAC. Over the years, the only thing the MAC has done is to be sure that the agency that wants to be at paramedic level or whatever level provides 24-hour, 7-day-a-week care at that level, appropriate care. There's never been a discussion of how the financial impact would occur. So just
Matt, you can stay there, but we're going to consider you at this end of the table for a minute, just because we're going around the table. That's Matt Miles. You can stay there, but we're going to
now you made an issue.
I was actually expecting much more emotion if we're going to need to drive this little part. This is going way too easily. Okay.
I sit right next to him now.
All right.
I don't disagree with Dr. Cohen. I do, however, think that that discussion is for another day. I think if, to Dr. Diana's point, if what we've done to this point is made recommendations based on the EMS agency's ability to check boxes, then we should do that in this case. If at a later point we want to relook at this, because I would argue that this conversation, if you read Article 30, shouldn't even be at this table at all. That if there's a medical director who wants to do this, they should be able to do this. But that's a discussion for a different day, I think, after this has been sort of put to bed. In this case, I think the boxes seem like they've been checked to me. And, you know, that seems, from what I'm understanding, some of the background discussions that I've had, that has been the precedent that's been set up to this point. Again, while I'm not sure I agree with it, I think going with the precedent is important.
As facilitator, I'm not going to voice my opinion, although I have one. And before we vote, I will relinquish my position as facilitator and become a member of the MAC and vote. Dr. Miles.
Yes, sir.
Okay, what we've been doing is if we have an opinion, we voice it. Because if you kind of miss, you know what opinions voice. But if you have any particular thoughts on this process, feel free to bring it up. If not, we're just going to continue going around the table. Ultimately, we will come to a vote.
I don't think I have anything new to offer.
Okay, you will have an opportunity for rebuttal later, so it's fine.
Again, Steve Ricardo, Chief of EMS. I'm going to keep my comments brief because I think Aiden's probably going to speak more level-headedly than I will. There is a system in place in Greene County that provides paramedics to every resident if needed. It's a system that works extremely well and has for 15 years. It's a system that has state-of-the-art, cutting-edge technology that uses some of the highest trained medics in the region, and I do not understand the desire or need to move away from a consolidated system that provides appropriate, efficient care to all the residents. That is all I'm going to say.
Howard?
Nothing to add.
Sam? Mayor?
Nothing in.
No, nothing.
If we're going to discuss changing it, then we need to ask what the impact will be on Greene County. If we're not going to do that, and we're just going to move forward and say we're going to maintain our current plan that we have had for the past many years, then I don't think that discussion should take place. So I guess maybe we need to decide, kind of is a bit of a difficult situation, because if you open a can of worms, because then we're down that road. So just offer that as a comment, not pass it on.
Good evening, everyone. Yes, thank you very much. First, Aiden O'Connor, and I want to thank the facilitator, chairman, physicians, all the guests, and most importantly, thank you for the 5-minute time limit. I could probably talk about 8 hours worth of time about just how Greene County EMS works and where we want to go. As George had mentioned, Dr. Stanger had mentioned, this has been going on for years. I come today as president of Greene County EMS, but I've also served as EMS coordinator for the county for 2 years, chairman of the Greene County EMS Council for 3 years. I co-chair the Greene County Countywide Ambulance Task Force along with one of the legislators currently. And I've worked in the area for about 5 or 6 years, currently as a flight paramedic who goes into Greene County often. What it comes down to is Greene County is an amazing service. In the 1990s, the hospital closed down. The legislator said, they sold it off. What are we going to do? Rural Health Network came up with funding. Funding came into a countywide paramedic system. Since 2004, all the townships except for the town of Windham, which is grandfathered in, they were paramedic prior to Greene County EMS starting, and the town of Halcott, just because you can't get there through Greene County, and actually go through Delaware County or Ulster County. The system in the last 2 years has invested tremendously. We are an RSI system. We use video learning scopes. We have nasal, pediatric, and adult end-tidal CO2 monitoring. We have monthly call reviews. We give free ACLS, PALS, AMLS, PHLS, free of charge to the paramedics. And we've built a system that I think is superior to that of the expectation of a paramedic service in the Remo region or on the state level. Catskill currently covers the town of Athens. So altogether they have roughly about 15,000 people, 17,000 with guests included. And from my standpoint with the organization, we're going to lose the ability to go into that area and to provide and use the equipment, the resources, the paramedics who are well trained and cover those areas. If Catskill was indeed to go paramedic, which you'll determine that, right? What my fear is that we're going to get called often for narcotics because there's a naturally growing, occurrence of when to obtain narcotics, et cetera, for RSI, which is going to need it, for difficult airways or for mutual aid. Right now, Greene County EMS is covering over 98% of their calls. It's never a conversation of the paramedic being out of the district too often or not answering calls enough. As George had mentioned, I'll echo that one more time because it's important, is there's no quality care issue. The town has met with us. Some of their town councilmen have actually used us multiple times. And they actually say that most of the time we arrived before the ambulance did. Many places thought that we were first response, not even a paramedic level. So I think that the past has shown that we, on a quality level of care, has exceeded that of expectation of the state. Time-wise, we're equal to or greater than that of Catskill for shoot times and response times. And when it comes to financials, I can't argue that. I do not see the town of Catskill's numbers in front of me. I will be transparent. We charge them $189,550 for the town. That does not include the county subsidy, which will be paid no matter what. It's like any county service, whether you use it or not. It's still paid for. And 2 minutes? Yes. Oh, wow. I could fit in so much more. So the devastating, I'll switch now, let you guys know our feelings on that. I'm going to switch real quick to the financial impact. I'm not sure how that fits into your decision making, but if it does, here it is. If Catskill was to opt out of that town, we lose $189,553. If the county then continues with their 2/3, 1/3 traditional share, we will indeed lose county funding, about $270,000 roughly. With that, we lose a truck at the very least. That puts 3 paramedics on for 660 square miles. 20 square miles is water, but we still render drowning patients. And the financial impact then onto the other towns is where it becomes really, really complicated. Towns like, and I'll use Dr. Hassett because he's here tonight, his town alone goes up $60,000. So if other towns start to opt out of that because of financial delivery, and they start to opt into services similar like Catskill putting out paramedics, we lose quarters, we lose zones, we lose money, and the system fails. I'm going to switch real quick into a countywide ambulance task force. The system was created because it was reactionary, because we lost the hospital. The Greene County Legislature, the Greene County Rural Health Network, Greene County EMS, and all the townships came together to say we need to be proactive. We're failing as EMS in a community that is large, it's rural, and what we need to do is come together and consolidate that with ambulances. We have the plan, it's 190 pages. I'd love to share that with anyone who likes to see that. It's still in the making. We feel as though with Catskill opting out of that system and the paramedic system, any acknowledgement to consolidate is going to be harmed. And that's from a clinical standpoint, that's from a financial standpoint, that's from a logistics standpoint, and that's from a mutual aid standpoint. So as much as today it says, as a resident of Greene County, as my family living in Greene County, I'm very sad to see that we've taken a few steps forward and what potentially may be miles backwards. We're in 2015, so that's my say. And I'm open to any questions, comments, concerns that you may have. Thank you very much. That was good. My end title was like 20. I like mentally.
All right, Saratoga, anybody home? Todd? Saratoga?
Yeah, they're there.
Communicate with another planet here.
Saratoga County, do you want to make any comments?
No, I don't think we have much to say.
Okay. Anyone show up at Greene?
Nobody's in
Okay. Now we have an additional 1 minute that we can go around, and you can use that time for anything. Does anyone, rather than going around the circle, free for all, anyone else have anything else that they want to say?
2 things. First of all, it is not Catskill's intention to pull out of the system completely. Currently, there's another paramedic level service in Greene County in the town of Wyndham. The town of Wyndham does contract with Greene EMS for service, obviously not primary service, but that would be our intention as well. We would still contract with Greene EMS in a backup capacity, so we would still be making a financial contribution, obviously not to the level that we are currently. And I guess I'll leave it at that point.
Okay. Anyone else who want to comment?
Just a quick question again for Catskill. Are you folks, you're going to be carrying narcotics, because that was a question.
We have to. Yes.
RSI, yes, no?
Yes, that is our plan. Obviously, we got to get the narcotics plan approved first. We would intend to. Most of our people are already credentialed through other agencies, so it would not be a huge leap for us to get to that point. Again, depending on the climate, I can't speak for Greene EMS, but they have collaborative arrangements currently with Wyndham Ambulance. We would do the same if they wanted, because we share a common medical director. If we needed to utilize personnel from both services to accomplish that, we would be able to send a medic to assist Greene EMS within our side or vice versa.
Any other comments from this group? If not, we'll move to the offsite.
Bruce, if I may, Dean, correct me if I'm wrong. When Rotterdam did their emergency upgrade or rapid upgrade to paramedic level, I believe they had their narcotic license within 4 days, 3 days?
Yeah, I think it was 3 days.
If the paperwork is in order, they can be,
That's correct.
yes, just as a reference.
That would be the fastest thing the state's ever done. Good.
It was 3 days.
Right.
Hey, I don't.
Just a quick question to the Catskill. If approved, what would be your implementation timeframe?
We are under contract with Greene EMS through the end of this year. We would not look to terminate or sever that contract any sooner than January 1. We would probably try to get up and running before that, but we would still honor our contract and obviously have payments through the end of this year. But right now, I mean, realistically, we're looking at probably October at the earliest for us.
it's interesting. You know, the precedent was that we required 24/7 paramedic coverage for that applicant. This is the first time where we've ever been concerned about the provision of care to others. Therefore, technically, the removal of 24/7 coverage across the region. That becomes an interesting thing for us all just to consider as we make this decision. I'm not sure that our discussions here have focused on the idiosyncrasies of the law and where we really do fall in terms of the ability to make this decision.
That is a different question. Anything from the off-sites before we move to the vote?
Saratoga, anything? Nothing?
No, we don't have anything.
Okay. Matt,
So just a question. We had, a stated opinion here from medical direction from Catskill, Green County. Sense of what are the pros and cons of this? How does this affect quality of care? My thought is that should be stated pretty clearly.
Right, right. So Catskill pulling out, for the most part, of the county program is not ideal, certainly. Certainly for a consolidated program, that would be Plan A, choice number one. Be that as it may, that township wants to do this. And I'm willing to support them as a medical director to make sure that the standard of care that this new agency wants to provide is going to be up to scale with what Green EMS has been doing for the last 15 years. So in other words, we would rapidly try to get Catskill up to speed with video laryngoscopes, RSI program, so that basically the level of care is the same or better. Additionally, with the way Catskill had put forth their scheduling plan, it would actually increase the total number of paramedics on duty currently in Greene County by 1. So there would actually be more resources than are currently staffed. So from a safety standpoint, which is what I look at for the citizens of Catskill, for the citizens of Greene County, is there going to be a detriment to the level of care provided to those residents and to those citizens? And I don't see that. I see that the level of care is going to be just as good as currently provided. Financially, what's going to happen, I don't know. I'm not a businessman, and I don't know if, again, if that's our role as a MAC to look at all the business things or what is going to happen, what the ripple effect of the finances are going to be with a large contributor pulling out of a program. Can the rest of the county unify and create a very good system and maintain the good system that they have with one member missing? I think they can. Is it going to be a challenge? Sure. So I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, just to clarify one thing, you said it would not be ideal. I just want to clarify if you meant from a quality of care standpoint or logistics and financial standpoint, both?
Logistical. I think if we could take a county of 50,000 with limited resources, less population than the town of Colony, take a county of 50,000 spread over a big area and create one organization there that provides high-level EMS care. That's ideal in my mind, logistically. I don't care about the business. I don't care about money. I don't care about this. I care about the service that the county residents would see, and I think it would be better with Catskill part of a countywide program. Be that as it may, we can't dictate what that town wants to do. We can just say if they want to do this and they can meet that level of care that we've held people accountable to over the last 20 years of 24/7 service and meeting all these benchmarks, that's our role as the MAC to do that, and that's also my role as a medical director to see that they keep that bar.
So to just understand you, I don't mean to question, just to clarify, your sense is that that logistical challenge does not pose a quality of care challenge, or it does?
I don't think so.
Okay, thank you very much. For that, we are closing discussions. Our goal as emergency physicians and pre-hospital providers, none of us can keep focused on anything for more than 45 minutes. We kind of met our goal of about 45 minutes. So before we all forget everything that we've heard today, would someone like to make a motion regarding the vote?
make a motion that we approve Catskill Ambulance's request for to become an ALS agency.
Do I hear a second?
Paramedic level.
Paramedic level.
AET, paramedic level. Any second?
I'll second that motion.
Okay, we have a second. All right. At this point, then, Michael, you as chair, you're gonna run the vote. I think it's up to you.
I think if you have requested a motion and obtained a chair, or excuse me, obtained a second, I think you should just run the vote.
Okay, as long as no one has any objection to the facilitator running the vote, that's fine. Normally, against the vote, we'll break that part. Okay, thank you. All in favor of,
Bruce, can I make a suggestion? Why don't you go around the room? So,
you want to call for a hand vote?
well, I think you say we go around the room, people vote, guys.
A roll call vote.
Roll call.
One roll call vote? Okay.
Do you have a list of all the topics?
Will that be easiest for you?
Yeah, because I have everybody's names.
Okay, we start off with Dr. Sanger and go right around, since we started before.
I vote yes.
We'll go the same way around. Somebody's counting these as we go? Okay, so, Sanger, yeah? Third one.
Yes.
You're on the Mac, right?
Yes.
You're on the Mac.
Although I disagree with what's going on as far as grade, unfortunately, I think I need to vote yes as well.
I'm actually going to be the dissenter and vote no.
I'm sorry.
I'm going to vote no.
Yes.
Yes?
I'll defer to the opinion of the medical director of those areas when it comes to quality control. At the same time, I think it's important to note that there's obviously a problem here, and we need to sort out what the authorities are, position, and duties of this group is on this vote.
That's it. This is a vote at this point. At this point, discussion later. I fully agree with where you're going with this, but vote's been called, we gotta go to the vote.
So, as I said, I'll defer to Dr. Richards' thoughts on the quality of care issue with the state yes.
Okay. Going on to
Switch
the
over.
offsite.
Dr. Duthaler, how do you vote?
In favor?
Dr. Jagoda?
Yes.
Anyone ever show up with green?
No.
Okay.
All the green people were here.
All right, well, so want to count up the numbers, so I think we all pretty much heard. Looks like he's back.
9-1, 9 yes, 1 no.
Thank you very much for everybody coming out tonight, for your opinions. And yes, we have lots of work to go back now that blows over. Go ahead, keep going with your opinions and just sort of tell us where we're going to go next.
I think it's fairly obvious to everybody here that this is a problem. And I think it's very unfortunate that these things don't get discussed and worked out a little bit ahead of time so that there's a clear understanding of what the actual issues are, how much of this is financial, how much of this is logistics, and how does it potentially affect quality of care. I appreciate that at the end of the day, it's very hard for folks here to have a firm opinion on those things. And that's why we've got to have a better conversation ahead of time about what the implications are for the area surrounding Catskill. I think everybody here has a real reluctance about some of this, and I think Virginia itself is, nobody wants anything but the best for Greene County, and that includes Catskill, absolutely. With that said, I think everybody here has been put in a very difficult position when it comes to a vote. And I don't think that's necessary.
I think something that's important that comes from that, Matt, if I may, is that I would suggest that when this transcript is done, that a copy of the transcript be forwarded to the town board in Catskill. Because I think the concerns that have been raised on the part of the physicians here are thoughtful, and should be shared with them. In particular, the request from several voices that we go back and look at how their neighbors are addressing this, what the county task force has chosen to put together, and our concerns about care for all of the citizens of Greene County. We voted with what we believe our requirements under Article 30 are, but that doesn't necessarily mean that's in any way, shape, or form that we believe will ultimately bring the best care of the county.
Michael, I suggest that we put on the agenda for when we start back up in the fall, maybe to form a group to really dive down, to a good look at this. So in the future going forward, it's really not just a Greene County issue, we have 6 counties to worry about. And if things go the way they're going, we're going to have a state to worry about.
I think poor Dean just moved that camera around. There are a couple of very good models that have been created out there already. There is a group already looking at the council level of reforming bylaws. This process actually falls to a operating authority system in Hudson Valley. I think that is a model we should look to. We'll disseminate those to the group for people to start thinking about potentially discussing as an agenda item before. You're absolutely right.
And I'm hopeful that we can get the countywide ambulance program up and running and really prove also to the people of Catskill that this is a great program and will work for them financially, maybe even better than what they're currently projecting on their own budget. And there's no preventing Catskill 2 or 3 years down the road from deciding that, well, maybe they don't want to run their own service anymore and they will become part of this countywide program. So I'm still hopeful that even with Plan B happening from my standpoint, that we can still keep the quality system going on in Greene County.
The town board has been steadfast in their support of the concept of a countywide system. However, the system that was devised by the task force, the town would prefer that it be a county-operated system, that the county hold the CON, and that's not the proposal that was forwarded on to the county legislature. So, faced with that, that was not the way that the town felt it should have gone. That's one of the main reasons why they went the way that we have. By telling a municipality that you can't provide a level of service to your community, what that basically is saying is that you're forcing the town of Catskill to continue to subsidize paramedic service for the rest of the county. You talk about the financial implications, so yeah, there's financial implications on the other side of the coin as well. And there's a whole lot of political implications in all of this, and that's where it really gets dirty. And that's the part of it I can't even begin to try to explain to you about why local and county politicians feel the way they do.
I think there's a number of political, financial issues that go into this. And the question, and maybe this is a question for some of the state folks as well, as to, whoever wrote Article 30, I would like to meet them because they're a mastermind of uselessness. You can put that under that list.
Written a very long
Right, no, but what I'm saying is it gives us the authority to do nothing, but the ability to wave our hands and say that we have the ability to do something. And what my interest from the state would be, obviously we don't want to get into the politics any more than you do. We don't want to get into the financial stuff any more than you do. I think everyone around this table, no matter what agency you come from or how you're looking at this, want to provide the best EMS care to patients. That's what we really care about. That is being muddied by political and financial things well outside of this room. And I think that we need to understand, and my issue from the beginning, one of the first emails I wrote was, I didn't know what we were voting on, to be honest with you. I didn't know if we were voting on the ability for Greene County to sustain, or if we were voting on the ability for an agency with an appropriate medical director to say that they wanted to provide ALS care. And Jason and I literally just sat here while we were in this meeting and reread Article 30 together. We read the same line and read it two completely different ways, which I think is why our vote was two completely different things. And I think that until we sort of decide, and I think this goes back to Dr. Mom's point, until we decide what decisions are being made, we're going to keep running into this. So I think that I agree with Dr. Eschkow that the next thing we have to do is sit down as a REMAC and decide, with potential hope from the state, decide what the future is so that the next time this happens, we're not in the same area.
With that, we've been going for an hour. Meeting's over. People can go home with their families. You can stay here and talk all you want.
Thank you, Bruce, and thank you, everybody, for giving up the evening.
I'll do a quick motion to adjourn. No, that's fine. Tim, I made a receipt recorder. We'll just make it easier.
Number one question. I think well, like Ron is out of money. But a conversation on the same. Thank you. You don't. But I think once a proposal is change, and I think that's